Hello everyone, it's Ren here. Welcome to my room, welcome to my sacred space. I hope you're well today. We are going to be discussing the nature of the INFJ charm, the unique feature of the INFJ charm. But before I do this, just to remind you that the background here is probably something that you now recall, something that looks familiar. Some of you have already bought this book, The Ecstatic Soul, a new look at the INFJ personality, most in-depth study of the INFJ type ever conducted, less than $10. I wrote this. All the links available in the description box, ebook format, paperback format, all the countries. If you have any questions, you let me know. Okay, so what is the INFJ charm? I think that the first thing that we have to consider is whether there is an INFJ charm and an INFJ kind of charm. And if we do agree in the positive, if we agree that there is an INFJ charm, a charm to INFJs in general, then how can we understand it better? How can we distinguish it from the typical charm exhibited by maybe other personality types? I'm thinking, for example, of ENTP charm, ENFJ charm, ENFP, INFP charm, that kind of thing, because these types are often associated with, the idea of having charm. We will distinguish charm from charisma to start with, use a bit of TI then to kind of clarify our definitions. We're not talking about the ability to draw others to you so that they act in accordance with a template that you're providing directly or indirectly, just by the sheer force of your influence. We're talking about charm in the sense of literally just being charming, being endearing to people, exhibiting a particular kind of attraction that is nevertheless not the kind of attraction that enters into the domain of influence like charisma. I think charm is a slightly more aesthetic / playful dimension than charisma. Now, I made videos about INFJ charisma before, so if you want to check them out, I'll provide some links in the description box. But let's focus on charm. So the first thing that I want to say is that, yes, of course, INFJs are charming people. INFJs have charm. The main obstacle to them showing this charm is that INFJs are typically not either not aware that they are charming, or that they do not really believe it possible that they could be charming, even though they will occasionally hear it from other people. They could also be suspicious of comments along the lines of "you're charming," either because they suspect that the other people are being, dishonest or superficial or manipulative, or it could simply be that they think this is just an empty piece of compliment just because it facilitates a conversation or something like that. They might even think that it's a condescending remark about how they're quirky, because it's true that sometimes a compliment can sound condescending if the person who receives the compliment is not in any way, shape or form ready to accept it. But also sometimes, there are legitimately acts of condescension from other people, and we have to deal with those just like any other person has to occasionally. Now, imagine that the INFJ is a bit more positive, a bit more welcoming to the idea of opening his or her arms to the world and to other people, and is willing to assume that most of the time people are receptive to whatever they have to bring, and also, by and large, with some exceptions, truthful about what they say to them. Now, if we accept those conditions, which I think are not excessively difficult conditions, restrictive conditions to accept, it then, I think, becomes our task to try to elucidate what this INFJ charm consists of. So I think that this idea of quirkiness is at the very center of INFJ charm. And in this sense, INFJ charm is distinguished from ENFJ charm, because ENFJ charm has a lot to do with their ability to relate to others and to create cohesion within a group. It's not a factor related to quirkiness, because in fact, quirkiness has a tendency to individualize you. There's something very individualizing about quirkiness, which means that it doesn't really matter whether you are someone who is very others-oriented in your inmost convictions. If you are quirky, this will tend to single you out as a unique individual, and to the extent that it does that, it tends to work a little bit against the ability to harmonize moods within a group, because there inevitably are going to be people who are not quirky in a group. Not everyone is going to be quirky, except maybe if you're a gathering of artists or screenwriters or something like that. Now, so INFJ charm has this quirkiness which tends to be opposed to the ability to harmonize situations, but nevertheless, INFJs are FE users, and by definition, the tendencies of FE is to seek this harmony, is to seek this cohesion. It seeks to include everybody within the experience that the INFJ is having at that particular moment. If the INFJ is embracing of his NI, and I made a video recently about how the healthiest INFJs are the ones who completely embrace the possibilities inherent in their NI whilst being willing to confront other people about those insights. Now, if the INFJ is embracing the channeled abstractness of NI, the colorful nature of NI insights and visions, the quirkiness is going to come along with it because for most people who are not NI dominant, what the INFJ relates that's in any way related to their NI intuitions is going to sound a little bit quirky. It's going to sound a little bit off kilter. The thing is, and that would be different in the case of INTJs, because INTJs do not have FE in their function stack. INFJs will have this quirkiness that they project toward others, and which could be of interest, but not harmoniously at first value. That's then counteracted by the INFJ's ability to somehow make their quirkiness a universal thing. And that's something that I think explains the very peculiar but also very pronounced charm of healthy INFJs, is that they have this ability to be quirky, but at the same time to be quirky in a warm way. And it's interesting because, for example, if you contrast it with an ENTP, ENTP can be quirky and certainly can be charming. But I think that with the ENTP, there'll be slightly more of a focus on confidence, a little bit less on quirkiness. And the FE charm of the ENTP, given that FE is tertiary, is not going to be exactly geared toward harmony. It's going to be in touch with what people want, what people expect, but it's not necessarily going to be harmonious in character. And in the case of the ENFP, well, there's not really a lot of FE there going on, meaning that I think the ENFP in many ways, and close to the ENFP, we have also the INFP, in a way that the quintessential quirky type that is not balancing that with a tendency to seeking harmony. So the quirkiness will be kind of self-contained, and no doubt that's the unique charm of the ENFP. It's just how quirky they are and how content they are to have this quirkiness, this quirky vision of the world and this quirky behavior. Now, in the case of the INFJ, the quirkiness is not quite as developed, and it's a bit more abstract because intuition is introverted, and so even more abstract and harder to convey than any quirkiness. But at the same time, this counterbalancing by the FE function means again that the INFJ will be aware they are being quirky, and if they're confident enough that this is okay, they will share their amusement at their own quirkiness with other people. And then they'll realize by the same token that a lot of the time what other people are looking for is levity, is a, if you like, a mixing of the seriousness that the INFJ can project when they're interested in people's thoughts and people's feelings, that they want to analyze people, to inject this dose of quirkiness and spread it around them toward the others. Those who are quirky but don't dare to be in public will be relieved and will embrace it, and those who are not naturally quirky will be amused by it and find it very disarmingly candid. And that creates the conditions of the INFJ charm, is this generous, enveloping, mild quirkiness that is a mix of originality that tends to be individuating and harmony that tends to be de-individuating, more social oriented. And I think that for a perfect example, I've mentioned this character before in fiction, a great character in fiction who embodies this quality and the quirky, harmonious dialectic at the heart of the charm of the INFJ is Dale Cooper from the TV show Twin Peaks. He is exactly that embodiment of an INFJ. So if you want to encounter INFJ charm at its finest, have a look at the series Twin Peaks. The main character, the protagonist, Dale Cooper, is just that. Let me know what you think in the comments, guys. Please give me a like, consider subscribing, and I will see you very soon. Bye-bye.